Okay, talk is why do most priests stink? And a couple things. First of all, in the old days, let's say hundreds of years ago, there were big families. Like even in the Victorian age of the 1800s, it was routine for a woman to have 10 children. Let's say you got 5 sons and 5 daughters. Well, in that setting, especially when there was poverty, not that many job opportunities, it's not a big deal to send one son to go be a priest. Okay, and there were some pretty smart people that gravitated to that. Much of the population was illiterate, so a boy with an interest in reading and study and scholarship, the priesthood was a good option. Also, you go way back in time, let's say the Renaissance, 1500, it was pretty easy for a priest to have girlfriends and children and stuff, so that wasn't a big deal. Look at Pope Julius, probably the greatest pope of all time. He had kids. Okay, so did Pope Borgia, etc. All right, another thing is in modern times, families are very small. Quite often people only have, let's say, 1.5 kids or one boy, one girl, and then it's a big deal to send your son to be a priest. And, the Catholic rule that they sort of, enforced after 1500s, after the Reformation and whatnot, that a Catholic priest can't get married, I think that's totally stupid. And to some extent, it's led also to an increased control of the church by homosexuals, okay, because they don't care about finding a wife. Whereas a regular guy that's not a homosexual, we like women. We can't help it. We just do. It's built into us. So, there's some advantage a homosexual has in the sense he doesn't have to provide for a family, a wife and kids and all that. He can just focus on doing whatever he wants to do. All right, but anyways, there's more to it than that. I went to a Catholic school when I was young, and I never once in my life met a smart priest. Why is that? Okay. Why is it that there aren't any priests that I'm aware of that are good writers? Sort of the best popular social media priest I've seen talking is Bishop Barron. And he's a smart guy. He sometimes says some good, interesting things, but he's rather kind of tame. And I wonder, is that the best the church can do? I've never been advised by a priest. I've never in my life heard a good sermon. And so what am I talking about? Well, in high school, we had to read Sinners in the Hands of an Angry God, an essay about a sermon by Jonathan Edwards, from the old days, I don't know, around 1800 or something like that. And it was all fire and brimstone. And I remember thinking, wow, this is really over the top. And what I'm getting at is, if you look at the founding fathers, there were all these hot-headed, smart pastors arguing and debating everything. But how come there's none of that nowadays? And like I said, when I went to church, my mom would make me go sometimes. I would sometimes go to make my mother happy. Sometimes I like to listen into the music there. I'd look at the paintings on the walls, the sculptures, but I never in my life recommended a single good sermon. And, the building itself was beautiful. And I was wondering, why is that? Okay, so anyways, here's what it's all about. Most Christian churches in the United States have signed up for tax exemption under this tax law called 501c3. And that was added to the tax code in 1954 by Lyndon Baines Johnson. And Lyndon Baines Johnson, if you study him closely, you will see he was a low-life scumbag communist. Okay, he was just a slime ball. And it was really a rapid turning point destruction of the United States. When JFK was the president, things were moving up, getting about as good as they were going to be. And they had a lot of room and hope for improvement. And then after JFK was removed, it went to LBJ, and just the United States has been going rapidly downhill since that time. So this 501c3 has been called Caesar's grip. And by agreeing to this, the church can't talk about almost anything. It basically castrates the church and gives it a lobotomy. They can't talk about politics, political correctness, celebrity immorality, Hollywood's, just widespread degradation. When I was a kid, Walt Disney meant something good. Nowadays, it means perversion and disgusting, disgraceful content, okay? There were celebrities in Hollywood who you admired. There were people like John Wayne, Bing Crosby, Jimmy Stewart. You like them, you admire them, you would love to have dinner with them and talk with them, okay? Nowadays, they're just the scum of the earth. You don't want anything to do with the Hollywood people. You're not allowed to talk about conspiracies. These institutions here, the three initials, the Constitution, the pro-life movement, the LGBTQ stuff, corruption. You're not allowed to fund a lot of Christian missionary projects. Basically, their whole existence cycles around trying to protect their tax-exempt status. And their tax-exempt status is designed to castrate the church, to destroy it. They're not allowed to ordain a pastor unless he's gone to approved institution, which is going to mean politically correct institutions. They're not allowed to complain about pornography and what a disaster that is. Pornography is about degrading women. If you just take a look at that once in a while, you'll be amazed at how it degrades women. Okay, and they're totally stupid. I mean, if you got a husband, he gives you money every day. To try to think you're going to get money out of going through that is just stupid. In the long run, very stupid thing to do. Anyways, they're not allowed to oppose the problems of the public school system where they castrate children. They drug them with amphetamines for a made-up disease, attention deficit. They're not allowed to say the rules of God should be above those of the goober you-know-what. The head, and what this means, the head of the Christian church is supposed to be Jesus Christ, okay? But it's not supposed to be, whoever controls 501c3, okay? You know what a goober is? A goober is a gang of men who loot a country, okay? They don't have any morals. They just take as much power as they can get. So what I'm trying to say is this idea of control of a church by 501c3, that's not separation of church and state. That is control of the church by the state. And it's a deliberate control imposed by the Democrats, which is basically the American communist party. Come on. This is control of the church by the state. This is the destruction of the Christian church. This is the promotion of cow, moon, you know what? Ism. Okay, that's what it is. So, because I always wondered, why does church suck? Why do I think Mass is a total waste of time? Don't get me wrong. I love the Christian church. I love the Christian religion. I have studied its history in great detail. Its magnificent art, music, sculpture, architecture, etc. And I believe it's done more to help mankind than any other institution. However, this is why it stinks so bad and it can't fix itself. So there it is. Each individual has to figure out what's the best thing for them to do. But I'm just letting you know, if you ever wonder why it's so weak, that's the reason. And I think they should exist without this bill. They should declare that they don't want to participate in that and accept poverty and just figure out how to get by and be poor but be right rather than have money but be bad and then see yourself no one's interested in it.